In the year 2007, any one of these 14 runners will be racing across the globe. They are part of a mission titled Blue Planet Run, a pioneering attempt to raise global awareness on the scarcity of safe drinking water. Blue Planet Run Foundation has calculated that a mere $25 can guarantee safe drinking water for life to one human being. Watershed Organization Trust in India forms a valuable link in this chain. Over the last 13 years, WOTR, that is Watershed Organization Trust, has been quietly responsible for facilitating clean drinking water to over 2 lakh people. For over 3 decades, thousands of farmers and landless laborers in Ahmednagar district of Maharashtra were forced to migrate from their villages every summer. Today, thanks to WOTR, over 200 villages have found a sustainable solution to water scarcity. At some places, water tables have risen. At other places, there is water on pump. At every place, there is a reason to smile. This is a story of Damalwadi village that tells us how Water Vasundhara project tries to find unique solutions to deep-rooted problems. Situated in the mountains of Pathardi Taluka of Ahmednagar district in Maharashtra, Damalwadi is a small village comprising of about 115 households and around 650 odd residents. Life here was tough. Till 2003, Damalwadi presented a classic picture of despondency. But worst of all was the back-breaking work for women for 4 months every year.
वेळ म्हणजे हिरवळ पाण्यातच म्हणायचं ना. पाणी म्हणजे लांब असल्यामुळे 2 भांडे पण येत नाहीत आणि त्याच्यामुळे लांब जायचं म्हणलं म्हणजे अख्खा वेळ काम म्हणजे त्या पाण्यातच जातं. किती लांब झालं? 2-2, 3-3 किलोमीटर पाणी जाते. 2-2 भांडे आणायचे.
Every woman has the same story to tell. During the scorching 4 months of summer, the women trudged up and down from the village to the well. In fact, between 2002 to 2004, there was no rain at all, and the village had to rely only on tankers. All 3 bore pumps in the village ran dry. The older girls were invariably forced to miss school since they had to look after the infants while their mothers went to fetch water. On some days, the daughters themselves would be sent to fetch water because their mothers were exhausted. Of course, no men or boys ever shared this responsibility. Part of the patriarchal culture. From February onwards, typical sources of water began to go dry. Like hundreds of other villages in Ahmednagar district, Damalwadi would receive water through tankers. The well also presented its own dangers. It did not have a ledge. The fear of slipping was a daily hazard. Secondly, the water seeping through the dirt accumulated nearby sometimes polluted the well. Illness was a recurrent phenomenon. Watershed Organization Trust, or WOTR, had already initiated watershed development activities in a nearby village called Vaiju. Word spread to nearby Damalwadi. The villagers approached WOTR. Could they help in any way? The physical location of Damalwadi made it an ideal site for starting watershed development. An area of over 1,000 hectares, of which more than 400 hectares is forest land. WOTR began working in this area since 2004. About 18 months ago, the villagers of Damalwadi called for a general meeting, a Gram Sabha, to discuss and find solution to the problem and appeal to WOTR for some action to tackle the severity of the water problem. WOTR officials decided to to focus attention on one target: how to get the water pitcher off the heads of Damalwadi's women. WOTR team made a study of the village layout. They discovered that 10 years ago, a water tank had been built by the government, but it had never been filled with any water because its location did not allow the tankers to reach it. If the water could somehow be made to reach the tank, it could then be channelized down into the village. The problem and the solution was now explained to the villagers. WOTR offered to make an initial investment of about 2 lakh rupees to install a pump which would periodically lift the water to the pre-existing tank. A plan was drawn up, identifying 16 points in the village where water stand posts would be erected. WOTR then embarked on its second step, namely people's participation. Water could reach the village only if pipelines were laid. That would require labor. Villagers were asked to contribute financially or by way of voluntary work. The women of the village now got active. After all, it is they who had to bear the burden of fetching water from the well every day. Not surprisingly, the majority of women offered to pitch in with voluntary labor. 2 separate pipelines were now marked so as to reach to the maximum possible households of the village. Within 6 months, the pipelines were ready. Simultaneously, minor repairs of the water tank were initiated and the pump installation work began. WOTR asked the women if they would like taps to be installed at each home. The cost would be around rupees 200 each. The village women met and decided it was a good idea. Yes, they would each raise the money and install taps. The increase in women's self-confidence is a pleasure to witness. WOTR thus achieved its second step, giving people a sense of participation and ownership in the project. 3 months later, the big day arrived. Damalwadi's 650 residents now have water all year round. Vasundhara means the Mother Earth. For Damalwadi, it has truly proved so. Moreover, Watershed has increased the water table. The pump is operated twice a day. Villagers have been trained on how to operate it. The Gram Panchayat, the village apex body, is entrusted with its maintenance. For the first time, after 30 years, the women of Damalwadi no longer have to trudge up and down to the well twice a day. They simply gather at the appointed hour and collect water from a tap. Another significant consequence of the Water Vasundhara project is the lowering in illness caused due to the unclean drinking water. The relief from the back-breaking work that made women lose several precious hours of the day has yielded another bonus. Water has liberated the daughters of Damalwadi, giving the girl child, for the first time, a chance to regularly go to school. Their attendance has gone up by 50%. The heavy pitcher of water is finally off the head. A small step towards achieving the vision shared by Blue Planet Run Foundation to give safe drinking water to 200 million persons.